Would you all please rise for a moment of silent prayer? Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now call the regular March 1st, 2016 meeting of the County Commission to order at 9:01 a.m. All right. Have you all had a chance to review the minutes of the February 2nd County Commission meeting?
Yes.
Not hearing any amendments. The minutes are approved as read. Okay, we are at the public comments portion. I will just go to the individuals who have indicated that they want to comment. First, Patty Harris. Did you want to comment during public comment, or do you want to comment during the...
Would it be all right if I would just do that at the time that we actually do that?
That's most certainly not a problem.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris Combs.
Same here. I just like to wait until we get to it. Thank you.
Tammy, you indicated with...
Don't worry about it.
Okay, how about the commissioners? Butch? Oh,
Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I want to thank the sheriff, the deputy sheriffs, and all the people in this county who keep this county safe. State police and the EMS, AAA, who do a good job of keeping people happy in this county and safe. That's all I want to say.
I just want to welcome everybody to come out to the meeting. That shows that you are interested in what we are doing, and I'm glad for that. Thank you very much.
and I want to add my voice as far as the safety of the county, the citizens of the county. And as you can see, we've got a long agenda today, and part of that is because things are starting to happen in this county, and that is very encouraging to us as county commissioners. Okay. First item on the agenda, J&J Florist, Jack Calhoun.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you letting me go see you. I'd like to give you a little slip of paper if I could do that. And I will try to explain what I'm doing. I'm old, I've got shapes, but won't hold that against the other folks. And these,
We're all getting older and all have our own.
yeah, but my leg is showing them. Well, here, as you know, we go back to the light. We're not going to get into that this morning. All I'd like to do is, if you read the first thing that we have in yellow, states that the commission is responsible. And you asked the last time we were here why we were here after. You said, well, really, it was up to the town. This is all these statements. It was up to the court. It was up to, if you read that, it was up to the court on the EDA to pick committee on all the ranges for the town's beautification. Just wanted to mention, it's not the town of Westview, it's the commission. And I thank you. That's all I need to say this morning.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, yeah.
Okay, next item on the agenda, bid for courthouse assessment.
The WYK is provided me with a request for proposal.
Okay.
I folder.
Okay.
I apologize for that. It just states the specs of doing the physical assessment and then the spatial assessment to determine what type of spaces we need for each office. And that's set forth in that. Do they need to see it to be able to go and put it out to bid? If so, I can run it and put that on the best.
They probably want to see it.
Is it okay to come back to that?
Yes, we can come back to that. We'll just postpone. Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. E.L. Robinson, presentation for PSD County Water.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
We'll get started. I know we've met often before, but I'm Randall Lewis with E.L. Robinson Engineering Company. Eric Copeland, I know you see Ryan Halls here pretty regularly, so thank you all for the opportunity to discuss this. Commissioner Sandor was at the last PSD meeting and asked for us to make this presentation to the PSD. We're glad to have the opportunity to do it. I want to compliment the Commission and the PSD for the foresight they've seen in developing this plan to get water throughout the county, throughout the entire county. Right now, Doddridge County is about 22% of the population has water. Of course, it's right here in the West Union area along Route 50. We've worked, and we'll get into more detail here. We've developed a plan that's got about 28 projects on it, I believe. That's going to provide water when it's completed to about 80% of the county. It's going to take time. You have to build, like building blocks. You have to build and get the pipe somewhere. And funding is always an issue. We've looked at mixing and matching funds for the projects to maximize the amount of grants available. We've, of course, looked at, with the water system, we've sized everything large enough to have fire protection, because that's so important to the people to have the ability to have a fire hydrant within the prescribed limits. At this point, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Eric, and we'll just sort of run, and we'll just sort of start working through the process of the plan and identifying the first 3 projects that we came up with.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of briefly go through with you how we kind of went through this study and how we went about gathering the data. We started out compiling the aerial and the highway map for the county, and once we had compiled those, then we defined the served and unserved areas of the county. As Randall alluded to, basically it's West Union and north of 50 going westward towards Ritchie County is the areas that are served. So it's kind of easy to define that, and everything else north, south, and from there is unserved. After we did that, we went through and actually went out and drove the roads, counted the houses. So we tried to find out what the actual customer density is by getting our feet on the ground and actually going out there and counting actual occupied structures. We then went through and looked at the water source. Obviously, if you're going to serve water, you're going to have to find adequate water sources. So we actually identified all the water sources within the county. Obviously, that is West Union. And then we looked at the surrounding counties. And we took and compiled that data to look exactly who had water sources. And then we looked at their capacities. Do they have capacity to provide additional water to Doddridge County for any services? And we also looked at their endpoints of where they served. and also looked at the pipe size. See, because sometimes if they only run a 2-inch, like for instance, Pennsboro coming this way, there's a 2-inch line runs a couple miles this way, but you can't serve, additional customers with a 2-inch. You got to back up to the 6. So we identified those areas, not only Pennsboro, but also Hughes River, and then over to the east, Sun Valley, Salem, West Virginia American Water, Gilmer County to the south. We looked at Wetzel County to the northwest. So we tried to look at all those areas and see what potential there was of tapping into that as well.
The reason we looked at sources first, and we'll get into this explanation a little more, but when you're starting to develop a system of water lines like this, you need the customers. You need to have customers on the line to help pay for it. Somewhere down the road in the future, the county may want to look at creating their own water source. Once you have a customer base to help with it, it's so much easier and cost effective to lay pipe if you have the water, instead of building a plant and then trying to get the pipe. Not saying it's not going to be needed in the future, but getting the water to the people we thought was the most effective and cost effective at this point in time.
We took in each entity, as you're probably aware, has to do an annual report. So we took all those entities that we were looking at, plus the internal entity here. We reviewed their annual reports and looked at. Again, we identified their bulk water rates, what their rates were, and so on. And actually, that's what we did here. We developed this table on water utilities that surround you from West Union, Pennsboro, Hughes River, Harrisville, Sun Valley, Clarksburg, Water Board, Tyler County, right on down the list here. We looked at who they served, who they purchased water from, basically got a picture of what their systems were and how they could potentially help served water also to Doddridge County. We looked at the ones that had bulk water rates. If they have a bulk water rate in place, it's generally you're a step closer to being able to work with them. Otherwise you have to go through the Public Service Commission and get a bulk water rate. That kind of delays things. And you can see that there's several entities that have a bulk water rate, several entities that actually do resale of water. We also looked at the capacity, as I mentioned before. We looked at the capacity of some of these entities. West Union, they have some excess capacity, not a lot of excess capacity. I think they're around, runs my mind, like 50,000 gallons per day excess capacity. You look at someone like Hughes River Board, they actually are only operating their plant for a few hours a day. So they have a tremendous amount of excess capacity. Same way with the water that comes from Clarksburg Water Board via Sun Valley and Salem. They have quite a bit of excess capacity. So there's adequate capacity both to the east and to the west to provide quite a bit of service, as well as existing West Union. And again, coming from the south, there's a couple entities as well. Beyond that, we also gathered data that's kind of critical when you're developing your funding packages, which is looking at the census data. Almost all of your funding goes back to, and your rates that you can get, the amount of grants that you can qualify for, all goes back and tracks back to census data. And what you find in Doddridge County is you kind of have some kind of distinct areas. The areas that we have shown in this kind of orangish colors are the ones that qualify for lower interest rates and higher grant amounts. The areas we have shown in green here are more of the moderate. You don't qualify for as much grant, but you still qualify for loans, but it's a different term and different interest rate. So we had to look at all of that in order to try to maximize the grant funds that you were eligible for, to try to leverage as much as possible as we work through this process.
Yeah. The PSD board has told us repeatedly that they want to get water to the citizens of the county. To do that, we've worked with them, and we've tried to look at different funding packages for the first 3 projects of the 28, so that we can get applications going, when the funding cycle comes up, so they won't be competing against each other for money. You know, in a perfect world of utopia, we get all those in, and all three would get funded at the same time. That's not very likely, but if we're dreaming a few minutes, but that's our intention. The district has been very resolved in us doing that to make sure that we are attempting water projects from different sources that don't compete with each other. So we put a good amount of effort into doing this.
And one of the things the PSD also stressed, and that we had discussions on when we initially started the scope of work, and I don't know that we mentioned, we started this process last April. So we worked through doing the scope of work, and one of the things that we had talked about was actually getting definable projects. You know, not just studying the county and saying we need water. Well, you knew you need water. Our task was to actually define some projects and define some methods of getting it that way. So that was the next step after we went through this process I just described. Then we started taking all those house counts that we did and start placing the, you know, kind of the density on these highway maps and the aerial maps. And then we started piecing out projects and saying, okay, this would be a good project here. And we worked with the PSD through that process over the summer. Basically, we discussed back and forth of the areas that we were looking at. You know, where was it that we had the highest density of customers? Where was the easiest place to serve with existing water sources? We looked at all those factors, but basically, as Randall said, we looked at those 28 or 29 projects and defined them, and then split them out and did a cost estimate. And what we did, we evaluated them based on a construction cost estimate is what we initially developed, so that we could develop a comparative, you know, chart of this project costs this much, there's this many customers, so the cost per customer is this. So that was kind of our measure of how good the project was, is lower the cost per customer, is how we went through and evaluated this. So we developed all that, we put all that information that we just described in the report. We submitted that report, draft report, to the PSD last November. And we since have been kind of tweaking and reviewing that. And most of our discussions from that point on was, okay, let's define some priority projects. That's what the PSD wanted to do. We looked, basically, the discussions at that time focused on providing water to the county park. Looked at the most densely populated areas along Route 50. We looked also at the most fundable project based on the funding criteria, the opportunity criteria. We looked at utilizing different water sources, and we looked at also another priority of the PSD was providing water to the rural areas of the county, not just along Route 50 and, you know, it was getting out into the county and providing that water. Based upon that, and this
May I ask a quick question?
That's up to them.
it's fine, it's up to you all.
Okay.
I was just wondering, you're showing the charts on, I know I personally would like to see what you're showing. So you've got two duplicates there. After you show them to the commission, can you put them on so the audience can
Sure.
do them also, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, that was a good suggestion. Everybody see, all right?
And we can flip those.
Tell me when you're ready, I'll get that one off, you can look the next one.
This map I've got here is the entire county, as you can see, and what we have done here is illustrated where these water sources are. Like I said, you can see the town of Harrisville serves out past Pullman. Pennsboro serves to the east out towards Tollgate. The 2-inch runs to Tollgate, the 6 inches back of the hydrant. Sun Valley serves basically to the Go Mart there at Salem. Sun Valley also comes into the corner down here. Western American Water comes up close to 2 different places in the southeastern corner. And Gilmer PSD also serves up to 18 over here. So you can see you've kind of got water coming fairly close from various directions, particularly east, west, and to the south here. But based on that, the three projects, the three priority projects that the PSD chose to look at was what we call the Route 18 Snowbird project, which basically goes from the Fairview Restaurant down to the park. And what we do is go past the park and to the intersection of Route 18. At that point, there's a clump of houses there. It basically serves about 26, 28 customers down through there, plus it gets the park. That project there is estimated just a little less than $1 million. And we have developed...
This particular project, just to chime in a second, we thought there may be an economic development component that the USEDA could look at to try to help funding it. We actually had the USDA representative at a PSD meeting a couple of months ago, and we talked to them about it and showed her the area and everything. And due to what they consider economic development, that's not going to work for this project. It may in the future for something else. But we were glad to get her actually here and looking at it. So it was, she saw a lot of the county that has potential to use it. So.
You said to the park, right? I mean, are you going out 18 anyway, a little ways and towards a new building like that?
Right now, what we have slated as Randall said, when we first started the discussions, we were actually going from the restaurant down past the park, down 18, probably down 18, and I can't remember the road now. We were going probably another couple miles down 18.
Down 18, okay.
Plus, we were going back up 18, back to the intersection of 50, which was the EDA site.
Okay.
But what we did, once we found out that there were still some hoops to jump through on the EDA, we backed up and said that might be in the next phase where we could do the EDA portion plus that portion on further south on 18 as a secondary phase to what we call the Route 18 South Park project. So that was kind of the second phase of what we're at now.
Route 18 it's a good project customer density wise. Just if we can get to that intersection, it helps. So you take care of your park issue, but you also get it to the intersection, which is critical for the future development.
You had a question?
So to make this clear, you're not going on to 18 at all. This is from Fairview to the intersection, that's it, the $1 million project.
That's what we have scoped out right now is down to the intersection, yes. And we think we have a fairly viable funding scenario on that we're looking at right now, which what we're looking at, let's just call it roughly a $1 million project. We're looking at splitting it up with IJDC grant and loan mix and also local contribution, which we probably, the PSD is probably going to look towards you all for that local private contribution.
We've also understood just in our time in the county that it's possible that one of the oil and gas companies may be wanting to participate. Again, we don't know that, but we were just trying to carve out a project because we know it's so important.
But that $250,000 out of that makes the project viable, you know, wherever that local contribution comes from, that makes it a viable project with a mix of loan and grant from IJDC, because you do qualify for some fairly decent loan and grant from them as well.
Yeah, we will actually ask, I may be getting into too much detail, but we'll actually ask when this does move forward, is a 1% 30-year loan from the infrastructure council for the half the money. They may want to move it to 2% because you're right near the border of where they look at a mix, but we had conversations with them, and as the way as the world is today, they would be willing to look to 1%, which saves you a little bit of money every 30 years.
I'll leave this up here. I've got more specific project maps to show you, but basically the blue areas here are the priority projects. Like I said, that's the park project here. The other project that was a high priority because it had a great amount of density. In this blue area out here, this is Route 23, what we call the Route 23 Big Flint project. And that area out there is, our preliminary estimate is about a $9 million project, and it serves over 400 customers. And that water source there that would be tapped into would be coming back and picking up from the Salem source here, running it into Doddridge County and serving those customers from that direction. But that is 400 plus customers in that general vicinity.
That was one we were at a PSD meeting recently and talked to y'all about supporting the Small Cities Block Grant application for that project. So we're still working with Region 6 moving toward that.
The other project that was considered a priority was on the far western end of the county, south of 50, which was the Oxford area. There's also a great, fairly decent density in that area as well. We have counted upwards in this area highlighted in blue about 250 potential customers in that area. And that's about running in the $8 million range as we have it right now. As Randall alluded to earlier, you know, we're looking at a mix of IJDC, local contribution here. On the Big Flint project out here, we're looking at probably tapping into multiple funding sources because of the size of the project, trying to maximize grant dollars, probably tap into RUS, IJDC.
Drinking water treatment revolving loan, they have some forgiveness money. They call it forgiveness, it's a grant. You have to mix a little loan with it, but we're looking at all that to make this project work.
And on the western end out here, we were hoping to probably try to look at maybe an ARC grant out there, again, a different grant source, and mixing that with some RUS money or possibly some other, but try to tap a different grant source for each of these various areas. Again, like Randall said, that way you're not competing with yourself and throw the same three funding scenarios up and you're competing against yourself. So try to keep it that way.
Another thing that we looked at in the development of this, again, it's going to be more toward the end, is alternate water sources. You know, they had a Senate bill a couple years ago that did a study after what happened in Charleston just recently. Wetzel County, I believe, had to shut their water plant down. So we've tried to look toward the future of someday tying in the alternate water sources. That way you can have a supply of water. It may not be, well, everybody, you know, what they would need, but it may keep somebody in a drink of water during a crisis. So we've tried to keep that in mind as well with this.
One of the things we've looked at on the Oxford side, there's actually two ways of getting connection out there that we've looked at and are still trying to figure out which is best and more advantageous. The coming from Pullman in, obviously Hughes River Water Board from Harrisville, but again up here at Pennsboro, it's probably 2 miles shorter to get the line from the end of Pennsboro's line actually interconnected with West Union, which would not only supply the Oxford area, but also do exactly what Randall was just saying. It gives West Union the opportunity to actually have, you know, in case of emergency, water that they could have come in from there. So it's advantageous on a couple of fronts there. So that again, a couple of hoops to jump through in order to accomplish that, but it's a good thing. We've seen it happen elsewhere in the state where you had one county we worked with probably had what 5 interconnected water sources. So they could go, you know, north, south, east, and west with alternate sources if something happened.
And they utilized. They had a municipality that got in trouble,
Yeah.
and they were able to.
Question back
Let
here.
me ask you a question.
Yes.
You're talking about Big Flint 23. You got 400 potential customers.
Yes, sir.
$8 to $9 million, correct?
Yes.
So you're looking at $22,500 per customer for that pipeline to provide them with water from the Clarksburg side. And Clarksburg, well, Dog Run is dry now because of the outside influence and sucking in dry and then fighting their dam right now.
Right.
So what's the Oxford side again? And how many customers?
It's about 8 million plus or minus, and it's about 250 customers.
So you're double on that already. You're looking at about $45,000 per customer.
It's a more expensive cost per customer, yes. The other thing I wanted to illustrate on this map is, you know, this is done by building blocks, like Randall said earlier. You got to go this far to get to the next project, to get to the next project, and I just did an illustration that the PSD has not, or the county has not said that this is the direction you want to head, but I've highlighted in this kind of orange looking stuff potentially what you could do. If you got the Route 23 Big Flint project completed, you know, there's potential going up here. There's a high density area just to the northwest. That could be the next phase. Same way on the Route 18 Snowbird. You could shoot right on down Route 18. The customer density along Route 18 is fairly consistent. There's not big clumps of people, but it's basically farm after farm after farm down through there. Same way looping back around to Route 50 here that we talked about with EDA. And the same way out here in the Oxford area. You come up through here, The density out here is fairly similar to the existing project we have scoped out. And you also can come back up and you can see the amount of places that you actually hook to Route 50 there that also provides water to the south side of 50 and lends the opportunity for additional development and such. But I just wanted to show you how you can build on that, and that's kind of what we have shown in our plan is the various places where you can go. You don't have to do each project as they are shown. You can do bits and pieces, and that's kind of what we have here. We have a combination of about 3 projects outlined in the plan. There's 2 or 3 projects that are actually within that are lumped together. You can lump together or you can take them apart. It just building little blocks there.
What this does, this gives an opportunity if some pot of money would fall from the federal government somewhere, you wouldn't be in a position to go for that money. You have a lot of your information already lined out to go with.
Right.
We ran into that situation in another county with the ARA money a few years ago. We almost put water through that entire county. They're up to 90% now utilizing ARA money. So it was good to be ready right there.
This is just a county road map of the same thing I showed you before. It just better illustrates the lines on county roads to where you can better see that. It's just the same illustration. We have also the individual projects. Like I was saying before, this is the park project. Basically, you hook onto the existing, you come down, and that's where we have the end of it shown right now is here. Obviously, if the EDA potential sites up here, you can come back up here on the next phase and come on down 18. And this is just a better, this is a better map again, blown up a little bit more, hooking back on the other side of 50 to the Salem system, coming back up to the county line and going up 23 a ways, come back over the hill and out Big Flint there is the area that we're specifically talking about there. And again, you've got within the highlighted blue portion here, you have well over 400 customers and a whole lot more, out in that area. That seems to be the highest density of population is out on that particular end.
Yeah. When this goes through, is everybody going to be mandatory to hook up to this?
No, this was voluntary.
Are they going to be charged taxes for this project as far as, we have to pay so much in taxes for this water line being put through?
No, not unless there's something. No, it's a revenue bond that's borrowed to do what's not grant. And if you're on a water customer, you pay back through your water rates.
I've been to a couple of counties and they're in a restaurant and I've got water. I love ice water. And it stinks so bad. It's sad. And when you get something that smells like that coming out of the water plant that's made for the people, and it smells, that tells me it's full of chemicals. This is not good.
Well, I live in Oxford and I cannot drink hard water. So I think it would be very good to be able, at least when something like that happens, and it can happen, that there is a source of water.
Got one question. You're talking roughly 650 people over these 2 projects. Are these customers, have they already been asked?
No, ma'am.
So in other words, you're estimating that there's 400 households and that everybody uses, then that would come up with your
Actually, we used a factor of 80%.
8.
Yes, ma'am. We realized it would not be 100%. Typically, the funding agencies look for 80%, so we just use that factor.
And this lastly here is just a blown up version of the Oxford showing the one option that ties in from Pennsboro back into West Union, and the other one coming from Pullman to serve this area right in here that we're focused on Oxford. Again, 250 customers or so.
Well, the one coming from Pullman, I know, would the people in that county want to hook onto it too?
There's 30 some odd customers that are actually in Ritchie County. And we've talked to the mayor of Harrisville a little bit about that. Matter of fact, you got to go back a little ways and upgrade a pump station in order to accomplish this. But that's something when you get down into the nitty gritty details that will have to be figured out. Where's the master meter? Whose customers are they going to be? But there are customers that we hear want water out in that area as well, east of Pullman in that area.
And I assume if there was a county match that Ritchie County would be approached for a portion of that match.
Yeah, yes.
But those are the projects, like I said, those are the PSD's priority project that they went further and chose us to go ahead and proceed on design. So we're proceeding to look at funding packages that we've already discussed with you. And we're working with, again, like Randall said, working with Region 6 on the one that you approved to sponsor small cities on. We're still working with them to try to make sure that is qualified. So we're working on that. We've brought a copy of the report for the commission. We've also brought you a fact sheet. And I've got extra copies here. Sure, I'm sorry.
If I can say, one of the things about the approach that PSD took on this is they took a big picture approach. You'll see some counties that have multiple PSDs providing water, that they put a line in, and then later when they want to expand, they have to go back and upgrade that line because that project was only focused on that area. By taking a big picture look at the entire county, looking at all the sources, every piece fits in with the prior piece, so you're not having to go back and redo those lines at an increased cost. And so that's one of the things the PSD has done, and I think will benefit the county, is that they've taken that big picture look, and they've looked at, okay, if we start here, can we get to here? You know, maybe 3 or 4 projects, but we can get from here to here with what we're designing.
On the other 25 projects, what order are they in, Ryan? I mean, like the Greenbrier, I believe it needs water too. I had a guy calling there tonight wanting water out there. People out in Blainville want water too. I mean, are they up higher in the thing, or do you have any idea?
I think that's really up to the PSD. These are the 3 projects they've identified as the starting projects, and they're great projects. When you talk about 20,000 per customer, 30, 40 per customer, that's actually, it sounds like a lot, but in the realm of water projects, that's a really good project when you have that kind of cost per customer. So I think as these projects progress and we look forward to let's get some other projects ready, I think that'll be between the PSD and ultimately, I guess, the commissioners as to where's the priority areas. We can tell you the cost. You can compare and make your own decision as to let's do this project next.
I think a lot of people in the county want water. I mean, that's what's going on nowadays in the county.
We heard that when we were out different times. You know, some people said they didn't want water too. We heard a lot of people saying we really like to have water. Fire protection means so much too.
Make your insurance get a little cheaper too.
Yeah. And they've been doing this 30 years and we've never laid a water line far enough. So let me tell you that right now.
Mike,
I think, the cost is, whatever things are needed in the county. What kind of a time frame of like payback is this project looking at? Like 5 years, 30 years, 50 years? What?
Typically 30 to 40 years, depending on the source of funds.
Okay.
I was listening to you mentioning some of the sources. I sort of have some concerns about American Water and their track record. I mean, they just have recently increased the cost by something like 30%.
It was an increase last week.
Yeah, which, and their track record as far as them maintaining, et cetera, has not been what you would exactly call stellar. And then the other question that I have, the sources that you're looking at right now with the industrialization that's occurring in our region, especially the Ritchie County water supply, which is downstream from a Marcellus, from an injection well, okay? Then also we have the potential nightmare of the Antero frac treatment plant, where they're currently in the process of, they have applied for a Class F landfill, which will be taking some of the byproduct from this water treatment plant. That projected size of that landfill is over 500 acres, and it is also upstream from the Ritchie County municipal water supply. And I have concerns about the quality of the water and the potential of what might happen. So I'm just wondering if you're factoring this in or not. I mean, it's just a concern, and I'm sure other people living in the area, because some of the people that need water are people that have been impacted by polluted groundwater as a result of drilling activity. And I'm sure that, you know, other people have the same concerns.
I'm sure it's a valid concern. I can tell you that each of the water facilities that we look at to potentially provide water is regulated by the state and federal government to test to make sure that the water quality is good. I can't argue how the testing is. You know, no one wants to poison a group of people. I don't think any public-owned water utility wants to do that. So all we can go is the safe drinking water standards, as you know, what is based on the quality of water. Let's put it.
The federal standards require testing for certain chemicals and certain things on a particular time frame. Okay, some of that testing is incredibly expensive, so they might test for radiation levels maybe every 4 to 5 years. All right, they might test for every other things once a year. And the PSDs, or the municipal water sources, typically publish the reports of their for their test results. But some stuff, just because the testing is expensive, doesn't occur on a yearly basis. So with the nature of what is going on in our particular community, I think our community is more at risk for some of that stuff because it's not something that you can necessarily smell or taste. So I just wanted to get it out there.
I want to make a couple of comments here. Well, a question and a comment. The comment is related to the upstream of the water supply. You know, that's a comment, and it's a valid comment, but you need to expand upon that and say, is there an industrial site or any kind of complex in the United States that's not upstream of someone's water supply? So keep that in mind also. The second thing is a question in relation to, you gave us the 22% figure for water customers in Doddridge County. Where are we in the state of West Virginia as far as, do you know that?
You're very low.
Very, very low. Well, my comment in relation to that is we're way behind, and we need to do something to start catching up. We're getting significant amounts of money. These are real needs, so that's something that we need to consider also. But you know, it is something that has been needed for a long time in Doddridge County. But as we all know, we haven't had the money in the past to do anything. So I'm very impressed with your presentation, and I also want to commend the PSD for the foresight and your all's involvement in, and I know Butch, and I'm the same way. I'd like to see a reservoir in Doddridge County somewhere where we could have our own water supply. But I think we know that, I mean, I don't know that this would take as long, but I know the one over at Stonewall Jackson, you know, it probably took 25 years to get from at least where they started until it was ready to go. Now, personally, I don't want to wait 25 years, and I think this is a step in the right direction. And so anyway, that's my thoughts. Did you have any other comments?
I do, thank you. I don't want to wait 25 years either for that, but, you know, everybody talks about we need business in Doddridge County, we need this, we need that. We can't do anything if we don't have facilities for these people. We're at a standstill, and I understand your point very well taken. I understand where you're coming from, but we're either going to move or we're not going to move. That's simple as that. We're at the point in our life that we have to do something for the people. People want water. We have to try to help them. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
You have anything else?
I just want
Got a question?
Yes.
Yes.
The Oxford and the, say, West Union area, water wise, snowbird. And we all agree that the West Union snowbird area is a growing area. The cost, you're saying is a grant loan, and how much is this percentage wise, and how long to pay back, and what is the overall payback of this loan? As far as if we borrow, say, $8 million or a 30-year.
Yeah, we did not run an amortization table. We've looked at various, just internally looked at various rates. The PSD has acquired a services accountant that will get into running the amortization tables and get out to either a 30 to 40-year period.
And as far as water reservoir for the county, I mean, Ritchie County, Harrisville would be an ideal versus Stonewall Jackson, which was a joke. We all know that. It was a long, drawn-out process, and the state was definitely going through some changes at that time. But as far as now, that would be something to look at as far as Harrisville, I think, put into their waterworks. And
If you realize that Stonewall Jackson supplies a lot of Harrison County through the Westwood.
well, yes, I agree. But
Yeah, I mean, so it is a viable water source, a big water source.
Thank you, sir.
Do you all have anything else?
Unless there's questions.
Okay.
I just want to say that, like Greg, we are open for business in the county. And we need, I think all three of us want more business coming in this county. And we got to have water, we got to have electric in these places. And we got to start somewhere. Maybe some people in the county is upset, but we're starting in 3 places. But we got to start somewhere. Yeah. And I hope that we can start as soon as possible. That's all I need to say. And thank you guys.
You have anything else, Butch?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Very good presentation.
Very good.
Okay. Patty Harris, you're on the agenda.
Can I just do it from here?
No.
Nice try, Patty.
Get your picture taken.
Okay, you guys, most of you have probably read the paper, in the newspaper that her name is, I'm nervous, I apologize. Her name is Rachel Smith Perrine, and she is a Doddridge County native. She got married in 1934 to Harvey Smith, who was also a native from Arnold's Creek up here. She is turning 100 years old. She's been living in Parkersburg, but at 100, she is living alone and cooking her own meals. Now, she will tell you, a very honest person, she doesn't cook all her meals. She has meals on wheels sometimes. but it's an amazing story. Her father, Harvey Smith, was a Civil War veteran, and she is the last surviving child of a Civil War veteran in the entire state of West Virginia. So that's kind of, it's a privilege and an honor for Doddridge to be able to call her a native daughter. She's receiving a letter from the governor. There is a letter coming from the president for her for being the last surviving child of a Civil War veteran in our state. So on behalf of the Historical Society, we have asked that the commission proclaim March the 8th Rachel Smith Perrine Day in honor of her achievement, and we want to present that to her on March the 8th. We're having an open house at her home in Parkersburg, and if anyone was interested in coming, they can get with me and we can get the address. We're not broadcasting a 100-year-old lady's address, to the general public. We just won't do that. But we do ask that you might consider that, and Randy has prepared it for you.
Are you finished?
I am.
Okay.
May I sit down?
I will read the proclamation from the Doddridge County Commission. Whereas Rachel Smith Perrine will be honored by friends, relatives, and Doddridge County citizens on March 8, 2016 in celebration of her 100th birthday. And whereas Rachel Smith Perrine was born in Doddridge County on March 8, 1916, whereas Rachel Smith Perrine is West Virginia's only known surviving child of a Civil War veteran and one of less than 35 Civil War veterans' children still living in the United States. Whereas Rachel Smith Perrine is a daughter of Harvey Smith and Mary Virginia Elliott. Her father, Harvey Smith, served as a private in Company A, 14th West Virginia Infantry, a unit made up almost entirely of Doddridge County residents like himself. From August, must be 1862, to June 1865 during the Civil War. On May 9, 1864, Harvey Smith was captured by the Confederates at Cloyd's Mountain while aiding his wounded cousin Thomas J. Fleming. He was imprisoned at Camp Sumter military prison at Aldersonville, Georgia for 6 months and 20 days until his parole on November 25, 1864. Smith spent several months in Maurer U.S. Army Hospital in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to regain his health. He mustered out of the Army in June 1865 and returned to Doddridge County, where he used his Army pension to help buy land. He married, farmed, and raised 10 children with his first wife. Smith, 70, married his second wife, Mary Virginia Elliott, 25, of neighboring Ritchie County, and fathered 4 more children, Rachel Smith Perrine being the eldest before he died on May 5, 1929. Whereas Rachel Smith Perrine married Benjamin H. Perrine in 1934, and they remained happily married for over 40 years until Benjamin's death. Whereas Rachel Smith Perrine and her husband Benjamin were blessed with 2 sons, Edwin Perrine of Florida and Dwayne Perrine, who preceded her in death. Whereas Rachel Smith Perrine worked as a cook for Jefferson Elementary School in Parkersburg, West Virginia, until her retirement 37 years ago. Whereas Rachel Smith Perrine has lived during the most eventful century of this nation's history and has been a model and inspiration to her family and to those who have known her. Therefore, we, the Doddridge County Commission, proclaim March 8, 2016 as Rachel Smith Perrine Day in the County of Doddridge, and on behalf of the Doddridge County Commission and citizens of Doddridge County, we offer sincere congratulations and best wishes to Mrs. Perrine for many more happy days in the future to share with family and friends. In witness thereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of the county of Doddridge to be affixed in West Union this first day of March in the year of our Lord 2016. And that's the proclamation. I'm sure that Randy probably went to make that one correction. But, okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We normally would sign this right now, but I think she's probably printing another one with the correct year. So, we've approved that. We will sign that. And I think isn't it being framed?
Yes, yes.
Being framed and to be presented to her?
On the day of her birthday, yes.
Okay.
There will be an open house there for her. Like I said, anybody interested can call me, Rennie, or Jennifer. My number is 1540 to get directions. Also, if I may quickly, we're trying to reach 100 birthday cards to take to her for 100 years. We're having a little difficulty. I never believed it would be possible. We're trying to get Doddridge County citizens, and we're only at like 31. So anyone who might want to send her a birthday card, she made the comment that no one would probably send her cards because all of her family is dead. So that made me think, why can't we get 100 cards from Doddridge County to represent her 100 years? So if anybody would be interested, you can send it to her name, Rachel Smith Perrine, and then in care of Doddridge County Historical Society. And our post office box is 444, so it's easy to remember, 3 4s. We'd really appreciate that.
Well,
Thank you.
I think I can say confidently that we can get 3 cards and get them to you.
Thank you.
So that's
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
so that will help.
And tell your friends and neighbors to do the
Is
same.
the delegate going to be there? Is he going to present her with
Excuse
anything?
me?
The delegate?
No, not that I
Because
know.
I have a stepmother that's 102 in Pennsylvania, and it was a big thing for the delegate, the representative, we don't have delegates, to present her with the, and it was great.
I did notify Charleston, and I know they are giving her a
I don't know what you
letter.
do in this situation, if it'd be Roger,
How would I achieve that?
Parkersburg, but that would be a great, I mean, they'd really be thrilled with that.
You can look up who her representative or her delegate is and just contact their office. Right now, I think they're in session until the middle of March. So they're all in Charleston, but there might be somebody from the
So
office.
they'll send a representative.
Yeah. And that's easy to do.
You have a representative?
No, I'm not. The Civil War Reenactors Regiment in Parkersburg, the Woods County, is coming in uniform, the Union soldiers, to congratulate her, and she is going to be so thrilled over that because she is so proud of her father. And they were honored, they're bringing their entire troops, so that's going to be really nice. And the Wood County Commission is also declaring March the 8th to be Rachel Smith Perrine, so that's nice. And I'm working with Charleston. It takes a little longer with Charleston, but I'm trying to get it to be a state day for her from this time forward. And it would be just such an honor from a Doddridge County native, coming out of Charleston as well. It's an achievement to be 100 years, but to be the last remaining child of a Civil War veteran, I mean, that's an accomplishment, so we're real proud of her.
Okay. Randy ran apparently. So we've got the proclamation here, and
You said that first line.
And I might add, while he's signing, we kept this a little on the low because of her age and she tires. Wood County wanted to honor her at the courthouse and have a big festival with all the trim for her, and she just said that she couldn't do that. She wasn't up to it. She would prefer just an open house with people coming and going to greet her. She could handle that. So that's why we have kept it a little less than we would like for it to be.
Okay. All right, we have the proclamation signed, so is there anything else?
Now, when would I pick that up?
She's getting a gold seal put on it right now.
Oh,
Down the seal.
Thank you, I really
It will be
appreciate it.
available shortly. Okay.
Can we take a 5-minute break?
Butch needs to take a 5-minute break, so we'll,
Well, our next item is Sheriff Head. I know it's going to be a long one.
yeah, and we're going to have to, it appears it's personnel issues, so we're going to have to go into executive session. So.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to them later today, and we're going to have that taken care of in a retaining wall built, you know, on the back of it. And then the improvements, in the last of your packet, I've included some pictures of things we've done. We now have a 40 by 40 play yard for the dogs. We have an outdoor cat shelter, because we have cats that stay outside. We now have a roof over the dog runs, you know, so even when there's 2 feet of snow, they got to go outside. And we had to hire a second employee, so therefore, we're open in the evenings, the animals are not left alone so long, there's a lot more socialization, people, you know, so it makes it easier for high school students to come after school and stuff. In the future, I want to increase more awareness with our spay-neuter program, because we got to decrease the number of these animals. You know, it's really, I think we're making a big dent, but we got to keep on with it. One of the ways I want to do with that is flyers. Domino's is going to let us put out flyers, and they're going to put them on the pizza boxes. And I want to educate more the children and adults. You know, we got to start young, teaching the children. And I'm already going to, at the pre-K registration, I'm going to have a table and I'm going to read a book to the kids about kindness to animals, and therefore I can hand out information to the parents too. And I want to try to, there's a grant where you can get educational materials so you can go to schools and teach and you know, programs. So I want to try to do that too, because you got to start them young so that they understand. As of right now, we depend greatly on the county commission to run. I'm hoping to become more self-sufficient, do better with the grants, you know, but right now we do depend on you guys. I'm very proud of us. We're, you know, very few people, but I think we have accomplished so much. And in 2 years, we've really come around. You know, our bad reputation, I believe, is dissolved, and people are happy, and we're proud of it. I'm proud of our employees and everything that we're doing. I appreciate your time. Any questions?
I want to say one thing. She took a puppy all the way to North Carolina to get rid of the puppy.
Yeah, I did. I delivered it. Yeah. We do, yeah, because I was going down my daughter's. So on the way, I delivered a puppy. And we have driven farther before to meet him and stuff, you know, but it's going really well. It just really is.
Good. You have anything, Butch?
No, sounds like you're doing wonderful things. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Well, I think, once again, and I guess maybe some might say I'm kind of harping on it, but this just shows what cooperation can do. And I'm also very proud of the Humane Society for their accomplishments, and I think that you're doing a great job, and the fact that you're working very well with Rodney. Once again, you know, cooperation.
Yes, with Rodney, everything's going well. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That wasn't bad, was it? That wasn't bad looking at him.
I didn't look at him. If you did notice, I didn't look at him. Thank you.
Okay. Now, that is that item. Okay, we're looking at Sheriff Headley, so I am open to motion for an executive session.
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We go into executive.
You can tell her that, Ralph. No, actually, I've got some grants coming out of the CDC that's gonna pay for, so if I can make it work with court, I can.
Creative Arts Center?
I wish. You don't know what Sarah's about.
We'll talk about that after.
So far out.
Well, it'll just be me.
Okay, if they do, according to the auditor's office?
For a different purpose.
Well, purpose is business.
It is still.
Well, if it was a problem, I could pay for it myself.
No problem. Sound like Carson, I always pay for it.
Well, there's needs and others and we want to send us back to work.
2 o'clock. Okay, do we have a motion to back into regular session?
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We go back into regular session at 10:43. There is no action on the personnel issue. Next up on the agenda, Mr. Jeff Harvey.
Thank you. Hopefully, just coming today with this is kind of a small request, hoping we can collaborate with the county commission again. The Family Resource Network does a community resource guide that basically has every organization in Doddridge County, everything that's offered in Doddridge County as a resource for community members and parents, as a place to know where to find things if they need help or something. They've approached us about helping them get these printed. They need like 700 copies. So what we're asking is if we could kind of collaborate again. Their budget was going to allow them to contribute $200. We were going to contribute $200 and then ask if the county commission would collaborate with us in asking you all to contribute $200 since this is a community-wide resource that's used for everybody. So that's the purpose of my visit here today.
Okay?
Okay. So you're asking for $200?
Yes, sir. $200.
Can we have one of those?
Yes, sir.
Have any more?
I do not. I brought one as an example, but I can get more of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Nope.
Comments?
Nope.
Thank you. I don't either. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to approve the contribution of $200 for the publishing of this resource manual.
Yes.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Where does this money go? Who does it go to?
The FRM. Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for coaching the girls this year. Thank you for a previous season this year.
Yeah, you're welcome. They did real well. So,
Where do we?
yes, I'll just get several copies and bring them over.
Okay.
And you guys can distribute them also.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Okay.
Yep. Thank you all.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, Assessor Spunoggle. He's, looks like a ditto. Looks like you've got two different. You want to go back and sit down afterwards and then me call you back up again?
If you want to do that, we can.
I don't know if I want you to sit so close to me.
I don't want to sit down.
I just want to go on record and say that I just think it's terrible that the assessor doesn't attend all commission meetings from beginning to end. I just, I agree with that.
Throw it under the bus as soon as I get here.
I think you need some help.
We do love you, Dave.
Thank you.
You brought a calculator.
And just remember, Dave, this is an election year.
Yes, and we have such heavy opposition.
Lots of writing.
Okay. You want to you want to bring the microphone over, or will you talk plenty loud?
I can't hear you.
You need me to?
Oh. He's gonna feel like a star now.
Yeah.
His head's gonna swell.
Uh-oh.
I don't think it's on.
Yeah, hold it down.
The battery's good.
Is there a light on it? That's the tomato.
Green light is on.
It should turn green on the bottom.
Got it.
There you go.
All right.
Got it. Good morning. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Start back again.
Well, I'm on the agenda, I believe, first here. I can't hold this thing and talk.
Let her hold it. Bessie, hold it.
Hold it. Is it just for recording purposes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, my first thing that I'm on the agenda here for is that I have come to you for additional employee requests. So, I have some information for you here. Now, I know your agenda is very heavy today, and that your agenda is very, very large today. So I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I certainly didn't want to come to you and ask for additional funding without bringing some evidence as to why. I'm never in favor of just, oh, we need additional people or we need more money. Well, there should be some sort of evidence as to why that you can validate that claim. So really where it comes down to is what I'm needing is another clerk or data entry person or deputy assessor, however that there's not a lot of differences when it comes to each one of those categories. But on the first page there, I just wanted to bring out, you can see the number of new wells that have been drilled in our county from 2011 to 2016. Again, I'm not going into a lot of detail with this. You can look at them. If you all have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. The next page was the Marcellus, the horizontal wells, from 2011 to 2016. You can see on that, the footnote on the bottom there, an increase of 472.7% is where that has increased from 2011 to 2016. The accounts on personal property that have been added for oil and gas interest in 2011 have went from 4,636 to 2016 we have 9,000 and 9,703. Again, a significant increase that is there. From 2011 to 2013, there was a 19.3% increase. From 2014 to 2016, a 48.6% increase, and overall from 2011 to 2016, 109.2% increase in the amount of accounts that are being maintained by my office. Again, the next page there was the real accounts, the real mineral accounts. They have increased also. And then the last page there you have is your total assessed values from 2005 to 2016. I don't think that needs any explanation. I come to you today asking for an additional employee because each one of these wells that are drilled, the amount of wells from 2011 to 2016 on your first page there, it's 378 during that time. It's like, well, that's significant, but
as you see from the personal property accounts, each one of those, there are hundreds of accounts off each one of those wells. And each one of those accounts have to be literally touched and maintained. It's getting to the point that the window of opportunity from the time that the producers send their reports to the state tax department and they process them, the state tax department values natural resources, as we discussed in our last board review and equalization meeting. When the state gets those reports, they work those wells, they do the valuing of those wells, then they turn them over to us and say, okay, the values are on, now it's up to you to put that interest to each one of those people to be assessed for. That starts in September, the 1st, we can start doing that. So we technically have September, October, November, December, and January. We have a 5-month window, according to code, in order to get all of that done. In the past, one person has been able to key all of that. For the past at least 2 or 3 years, I've had to try to juggle and bring one of the other employees over from personal property to try to help to get this keyed. And then this year came, and with the increase that we had again, it's just not, it's getting to the point that there's just not enough time period in order to get everything entered. So it's more of a request toward a data person for the oil and gas. Now, well, what will they be doing for the rest of those 5 months that for 5 months we're going to have them do oil and gas, and oil and gas goes over that sum that we're able to working. But as with every other office in this courthouse, the oil and gas has caused additional work. So not only is there more oil and gas values to be keyed, there's more oil and gas transfers that have to be done. There's more deeds that have come through of people selling their minerals and putting them on the book. So it's not as if there's the only thing this person will be doing for these 5 months is just airing oil and gas. There's plenty of work in the office to be able to accomplish all that. I'm pretty simple, and my illustrations may be simple, but if you have a couple mechanics and they're servicing 100 vehicles, and now all of a sudden your business has increased, and those 2 mechanics are now having to service 10,000 vehicles, the job's not going to get done. And that's really what's happening, that we're just not able to do it. And this is value that if my office, if I'm not able to accomplish my job, then it affects every levying body, including yourselves in the levying and in the budget process that we have.
And you didn't even mention in the states that somebody out of state has a tiny little bit of royalty to be divided amongst 20 people maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that, and just the general increase of foot traffic in the office, naturally with the more accounts that we have, the more questions there are, the more people that come in to appeal, the more increased letters that go out that cause questions to be created from. So it's just a snowball effect that, I mean, even in what we used to think of the off season, the phone still rings and there's people in, and there's just not the time. I mean, it's amazing, just in the last 10 years, the whole climate of the courthouse has just really changed, because, and it all goes back to Marcellus, to the development of the oil and gas. So I respectfully request that you all consider, I have put it in my budget that you will be looking at for 2016-17. I put that in there, and I know that will be discussed at a later date. But I'm willing to come back to that meeting also to give explanation for that. What I have would request that you would consider now is, you might say, well, if you're putting it in your budget for next year's budget, so to speak, why are you coming to us now for it? Well, if we can advertise and interview and hire, the sooner the better. Because chances are, dealing with the assessor's office, this doesn't going to come out, but no one is going to be qualified because it's just a unique job that is done. So not that anybody couldn't do it, but it's just that they're not going to know the system. I mean, it's just, so the sooner that we can bring somebody on board, and my thinking is if we would be able to do that well, this is March, so if we brought them on April, May, and June, that's 3 months that they have a little bit of time to get acclimated to our system and to have a little bit of an idea of what's going on in the office before July comes, because once July comes and the tax tickets go out, there's no time to train then. So
It's
it
even
would,
hard to train anybody now with the phone calls and stuff you get.
so that was my thinking of trying to go ahead, and that's why I presented it to you today, that you would consider this. Do you all have any questions? I figured that would be part of one of the questions. The unwritten rule has kind of been a salary range of new employees starting of between 22 and 25,000. I mean that, and I'm certainly not. There's no written rule that regulates that, and that could differ from office to office. That's just kind of been what my starting has normally been. So I just fell somewhere between the middle of 22 and 25. I just took 23,000. I took that amount for April, May, and June. I don't see. I mean, really what I'm requesting right now would be a budget revision. This is March, the 1st of March. By the time we advertise, interview, hire, I mean, we would be pushing to get somebody hired, you know, maybe, it probably isn't going to happen before the 1st of April. So if we were able to bring someone on for April, I just ran some calculations. I just took the 23,000 figure and then took it by 3 months. I allowed a little bit just in case for something unusual would happen. We have hired somebody earlier, but I come up with $6,708. I figured FICA at 7.65, which would have been $513. I figured retirement at 14.5. Which would be $973. That came up to, according to my calculations on my calculator, came up to $8,194. I like even numbers, so I'm requesting a budget revision of $8,200 for an additional employee in this budget year.
How about a part-time person? I mean, we talked about it before a little bit. I mean, I just,
We've talked about a part-time person, and where we get into problems there is a lot of people aren't interested in just part-time, and then the job is so complex as far as on-the-job learning it that it's hard to bring somebody in part-time and work with it just a little bit and then be gone and then come back the next year. And again, the problem is finding someone that's willing to do that from year to year, so you end up with just your continually turning over and trying to train new people, which just doesn't.
What happens down the road, like say in 2020, the ball falls flat?
It's a very good question.
And people will have to make up.
That's a very good question, and I have considered that and thought about that, and to be honest with you, that's one reason that I haven't sought for a new employee before this, because I realized, and I've back last year, I was like, okay, we've got to do something. So I was, going to go forward with it. Well, then I start looking at it. It's like, well, maybe, I would hate to hire someone and then have to lay them off. And so I hesitated with that, but with the values of the overall value increases, and naturally, if I could predict the future, I wouldn't be the assessor. But we none know where the values are going to go, where the market is going to go with natural gas. I mean, it's always been the ups and downs of natural gas. But I don't, from the trend that we seem to be setting at this point, as I told you in our board review and equalization meeting, there has to come to a point that there's a leveling off. We cannot keep increasing in assessed value by hundreds of millions of dollars a year. That just can't continue to happen. There has to come a leveling off. But I believe there'll be a leveling off, my opinion. There'll be a leveling off before there's ever really a dip in just of the values going completely from one level to the next. And if it would come to that, unfortunately, it would be the same situation that a lot of the southern counties are dealing with now with coal. We would have to regroup, look at the budgets, and Doddridge County has had to do that before. They've had to eliminate positions, and it might come to that, and I hope it doesn't, but yes, that is a possibility. And at that time, we would have to answer your question, we would have to relook, and possibly there would have to be a position limit.
There is one other thing to consider, and that is just because production, due to increase or a decrease in drilling, that doesn't mean that there's going to be a decrease. The only thing that's going to affect the assessor's work is if some wells are shut down for a year, which would mean that there is no report for that particular well.
Correct.
That particular well, even though the production is declining, there's still production, and a report has to go in, and that report has to be keyed in or
physically
whatever.
Touched and keyed.
Right.
Correct. Yes.
So in that respect, even though royalties might be declining, that doesn't mean that your work, the only way that your work is going to, when I say your, this part of your work, is if those wells are completely shut down for maybe forever.
Right.
And the likelihood of that is pretty slim. But anyway.
And the reason that the values, again, are still increasing on the total assessed values is because naturally, you all know, and for years, our tax base has been upon oil and gas. There's not a lot of other major things here. So we've based our revenues, our tax base on revenues off of oil and gas for years and years. So now we're seeing this sudden increase, and we do get the feeling that things have slowed down. But this production is 2 years behind. So for 2016 taxes, we're taxing production, we're assessing production that was based off of 2 calendar years ago, so 2014 calendar year. So there's still more wells that are behind. Still no wells being permitted at the moment.
Yes, and I have a question. It may seem whimsical to some, but where you have a place for this person to work?
Consider that also, because
Yeah, okay.
as you know, with every office, the needs of this courthouse was not designed to have the employees that we have.
Right.
To answer your question, yes.
Okay.
It's not ideal, but it will get the job done.
Right.
It won't be an office of their own. I don't even have an office of my own anymore.
Yeah.
So, but yes, there is room that we can put them.
Okay, that's that may seem like an insignificant question, but
It is not, because it's both of the questions I have considered them to try to figure out what to do.
You know, we are in the process of trying to solve that, but that's going to take considerable time, and so you have to live with it until.
I understand.
Butch, do you have any other questions?
I think he explained it very well,
Okay.
as you always do, Mr. Spinola. Thank you.
I think there's a question, if you wish to take questions from the audience.
It's an easy one. If this, I know that those production reports go in electronically to the state.
Some do. Some still go.
Why
mailing.
can't they transmit those to you electronically?
Some
where it
are.
would-
Some
where it
are.
would made up.
You're as far as talking the 5-month period. Some of those are given electronically, but the state they do not start by code and by legislative regulations. They cannot start valuing that oil and gas until a certain time period, because allowing the production for the producers to get those reports in. So they start keying long before, I don't know what the exact date they start keying is, but the first time that the system is opened up, so to speak, to us is in September. And when they open the system in September, for us to start linking up those values,
That's fine.
they're still even working at that point, because they're not done either, because they're starting to get overwhelmed too because they're dealing with with all these mineral accounts too.
For a new taxpayer,
Did I answer your question?
That's what I mean.
the one that on this charts that indicate there are 9,703 oil and gas accounts, and if there's 50 or 100 new Marcellus wells, there's going to be countless numbers of new accounts added. Do you have to add those before the state transmits that to you, or do they?
After.
You add them after?
Yes.
Okay.
Once the state values them, and then they're put on the computer system, then that's what we call linking. That's when we go in and link up you taking and creating the accounts and putting the value where it needs to go after they have valued it.
Okay, so even though they transmit directly to you, you still have to do.
That is correct.
You still have to.
We have to physically touch them on the computer.
Okay, I got you. I understand. It's not an automatic process.
No.
Any other?
I'm good.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant his budget revision, $8,200.
We have a motion to accept the request for funding for an additional employee for the assessor. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Put on a different hat now.
Don't use calculators, use accountants.
We're ready.
As we have discussed before, the aerial photography that our mapping system uses, by code, the assessor is required to maintain the tax maps, and a lot of the mapping, that's what it's done by, is from the aerial photography. The aerial photography was last done by the state, and we're using, I believe it's 2002 is the photography that we're using. So I get complaints from the mapper about trying to map with old data, so to speak. So this was a whole new process of us bidding out aerial photography. So you all had mentioned during the time that I was going to bid the aerial photography you was interested in the LiDAR, which the LiDAR it gives more of the elevation of the, instead of just the photos, it gives you more of your details, which is more information. And I'm not a mapper, I'm not an aerial photographer, and I don't know very little about LiDAR, and you'll understand that later on when I explain something. But that goes more with the OES office and floodplain and that sort of thing as far as, I wasn't interested in the LiDAR because it has to do more with elevation. Well, that goes beyond the assessment purposes. So, I put it out for bid. We wanted 2 separate bids, so we had one for air photography, one for the LiDAR. So, I have the bids for the aerial photography.
Gee, thanks.
There were 6 vendors and they are in order as by their bid amounts.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Six vendors that bid on the project. They all bid off of the same information. The request for proposal was sent out, so everybody would, we wouldn't be comparing apples to oranges, and so everybody bid on the same thing. The low bid was Blue Mountain at $14,720. Blue Mountain is the company out of Burton, West Virginia, out from
Preston County, isn't it?
you actually go through Fairmont toward 250 and out toward Mannington and out in that area. So, and then the second bid there was 26,624, and that was Air Mountain Services there out of Buchanan. So the 2 lowest bids were West Virginia companies, and then then it goes from there, as you see on the
All different vendor names.
bids. Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Yes. And I don't understand.
Yeah,
There's a huge difference
yeah,
in the bids.
Yes.
Now, Blue Mountain, who was here before?
They were. Blue Mountain is who came and did the presentation to you all that has, they was showing the change detection that's available, and then that's when the LiDAR come up, and so yes, that was who they were.
So, you had indicated your office was going to pay for this, right?
I think what we, they got 80-20 will work out, 80-20.
Remember what you said.
80-20?
You would pay for it.
I don't think that was it. So I expressed that I would be, because naturally it's going to benefit my office the most because of the mapping. I mean, the appraisals. I mean, that's what. But it's also going to benefit all divisions of county government, from the 911 center to OES to floodplain to, I mean, just in general, that it's going to benefit. So I don't really I would be willing to go half, to pay out of my evaluation budget. If you all would pay half, then I would pay half to have this aerial photography done.
How soon do you want it done? I mean, what the window is to have it done?
The window that was given them is within the specs, and it is leaf off, and there's there's angles of the sun, and it's the best time. Spring is the best time to fly, and that is what we did. Was springtime flights, leaf off. So
how soon can they start if you?
I would say they will fly in April. There's a very small window of opportunity to fly, to get good weather and to still without hesitation before things start coming out. So it's as long as the weather is good, I would say they would be flying either the end of this month or the first of next month.
If I recall in their presentation, they indicated that they would be flying and photographing whether we subscribe to
That
that.
is correct.
Okay.
And I'm sure that is one reason that bid is significantly lower than others.
How often do you have it done? How often you want it done? You mean say 10 years down the road you want to know them? And
I don't know, and I've thought some about that, and my first thought was maybe that I could include in the budget once every 3 years to be able to update the air photography. My ideal thing would be, naturally, if you was a large county and you had lots of activity and things, to do it every year, but I don't think that's necessary. Ideally, every 3 years and no more than every 5 years. That's my thinking.
Has this company done this before for us?
Not for us. This is the first time that Doddridge County has ever bid out aerial photography.
The state took care of it before.
The state did it before. Yes.
So they put a good program on when they were here. I mean, very.
And then within their bid, that's on top, we asked them in the RFQ and the RFP to provide references, and they did. So again, we've never had this done. So I guess
you're going to lose 50% of your money, and we are too if it don't work. So I don't feel too bad.
I guess what we would be looking for would be to a go ahead to accept the low bid and to go ahead and notify them that they have won the bid.
Any other questions?
No. Good, thank you.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. So you're making a motion that we accept the bid of $14,720, of which the assessor will pay $7,360 and the county commission will pay $7,360.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Make him sign paper.
There's so much difference in that.
Yes, it's amazing.
If I may ask a question, is the comparing apples to apples, what on the bids, what do you see differences drove up the price between first, second, and third?
Really nothing. I mean, they were all bidding the exact same thing. It is, we asked for the 4 foot, I believe it's 4 foot contours. I mean, everybody was bid the same thing. I mean.
And just another part, can this be used to help assist the 911 in their addressing and correcting errors on their part?
Correcting errors.
I can't speak for the 911 center. I know they are able to access. They will be able to access the new air photography, but correcting errors and what.
Well, I mean, the same thing. Like we'll say, like going someplace where they're unfamiliar. They're going to somebody's house and they're.
Will they have this information that they will be able to access? Yes. Yes, they will. I didn't know if he acknowledged you or if I did.
No, you're supposed to.
Okay.
My question is, once the county gets this aerial photography, will this be available to the citizens of the county? Will it be on your website?
Yes, it will be.
And then the other thing in response, when Blue Mountain was here, it seems to me that one of the reasons why their bid would be low, which you might have mentioned, was the fact that they planned to fly the county anyway. Whether or not the county agreed to do this, wasn't?
Yes, yes.
I think-
They indicated that their flight plan, because they have a lot of other customers other than just Doddridge County.
Yeah.
And their intention was to fly the whole state,
Yeah.
whether, any county went with it or not. So no doubt that helped bring the price down. But, I mean, those prices are just,
Yeah, the prices go from 14,720 to 174,300.
and they were bidding on the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't understand that either.
Well, I mean, it very well may be that the company that's bidding for 174,300 might be just planning on coming in and doing Doddridge County.
Right.
And they're looking at it from a one purchaser situation where Blue Mountain, when they were here, they indicated that they were going to do this and that they had multiple customers.
Right.
It's probably, I mean, they have customers in oil and gas business, they have customers in various businesses. So. Okay.
I have one more question.
No.
What have I been asking for?
A break?
Go ahead and tell me.
I'm not going to go up and take these pictures with you flying the plane.
That would have been a good down payment right there.
Ronnie?
Certainly the other bids were from, the two lowest bids were, like I said, were from in the state, and the others, I mean, it ranged from, I mean, so they bid on these projects, I guess, just hoping they would get them, but anyway, the two lowest bids was within.
We need to, Ronnie, we need to investigate one of the remote control drones for Butch.
Did you strap him to it?
Pardon?
You gonna strap him to it?
I didn't make that suggestion. Okay, back to the meeting. Now.
Are we done? Did we?
Also take the microphone if you were done.
So in other words, you want to start advertising for the new person basically now?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, that was
I've
the
lost here.
additional-
Did you all vote? Did we approve the?
We approved.
We did, okay.
We approved
Okay, so I can contact.
the 50-50 split
Okay.
for the aerial
So I can
photography.
contact Blue Mountain and tell them that we.
Put your check, I'll be here first before we,
My money's good. Yeah.
Now, are you making a presentation on the LiDAR also?
I am.
Okay. All right.
I told you that I knew very little about all what I was talking about here when it comes to LiDAR and even aerial photography. And again, I'm not a mapper. So when I did both of the bids, we wanted them separate, as I said, because I wasn't interested in paying for LiDAR, and if you all wanted, that was up to you, but just as a courtesy, I went ahead and put both bids out at the same time.
Right.
I messed those bids up. Now is that? I'm admitting that I messed those up. What I did on the aerial photography bid, there was an option in there that they could put their LiDAR quote in. We quoted in there that we wanted QL2. That was actually in the LiDAR. We in that quote for the LiDAR quote, I said I wanted QL2. In the optional for the aerial photography, I put in there that they could go ahead and bid on the LiDAR. I put QL3. Now, we had to do some research and found out that QL2 and QL3, the lower the number is the better. So QL2 LiDAR is going to be more expensive than QL3. So what I did was I contradicted myself in the two bids, which created confusion to the vendors. So I think, to be fair and just me take the blame for it for my ignorance, that we rebid the LiDAR as QL2. Now, there were companies that did submit QL2 LiDAR, but I'm afraid that there was enough of a question and confusing over how I put the RFPs out there that a company could come back and say, well, you said this here, you said this here, that you unfairly was this company because if we knew we could have bid on a 3, well, that would have been cheaper than us putting a 2. So it needs to be rebid. As QL2, we've already, the aerophotography is out of it, so it would just be rebid as QL2. My thinking is, I was just doing it as a favor to you all since I was bidding out the aerophotography at the same time. We now have a bid approval for the aerophotography. I would like to turn the RFP for the LiDAR over to the floodplain and let him go ahead and bid out. That way I don't mess it up again. So because right, and I have that ready to go and everything. It was just the confusion came when I tried to put 2 bids out, but yet included it as an option in the one, and it would have been okay that way. But when I said I wanted QL1 on this one and QL2 on the other one, or 2 and 3, then that really caused problems. So.
Did you get a QL2 from everybody?
Yes. But there were 2 that when we started digging into the bids, they had put it as QL3. So then when we called them for, okay, we need clarification on your bid, then it was revealed that, well, you said 2 here and you said 3 here. Kind of, we didn't,
How much money were you looking at?
I'm not sure that I should discuss those sealed bids with something that they're not going to.
Okay.
That's probably a good idea.
Because if I would give you those bids, then
somebody else,
that company could know to bid lower. So
Yeah.
I guess my question would be, if we have QL2 bids from everybody, would that suffice legally?
Did anybody not send a QL2?
2 companies did not send QL2, they sent QL3s. So we requested additional information from them, and they both indicated that, oh, no, that is QL2. It just becomes so confusing trying to talk to the vendors and figure out what they were saying and what we were saying. I didn't want to mess it up any more than I already had.
Oh, see how you are.
It's gonna pay for you.
And you're welcome to come down and we can go through the bids and I can show you exactly what they sent and what they, if you want to table that. The only reason I'm still involved in it is because I bid it out, so I want to make sure that it's right.
I need to check and see if you can do that. So I will, if you guys want to table that so that I can check on that.
That's probably the thing to do, because if we don't have to bid it out again, you know, we can dispose of this issue and then move on. But that's fine. Do we have a motion to table that portion until Betsy can get a determination?
So moved.
We have a motion to table the LiDAR photography, is that correct terminology, LiDAR?
It's the LiDAR project.
Project, okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, and once you have a chance to check that out, you will contact somebody to have that put on the next agenda, Betsy?
Yes.
Okay.
Dave, can I ask a question? Sure. When people Blue Milk, can they come up and do a demonstration for them, the LiDAR, like they did, you know, to everything? I mean, I'm just, you know, because I'm ignorant, that's, I don't know. See what I'm saying?
Did they?
They didn't talk about LiDAR
We
too
didn't
much.
talk about LiDAR.
They explained it somewhat, but I don't think they had any visual presentation, I don't think.
On the LiDAR and your competitors, without being in writing, they can hold you and say that you're being biased, so I advise you.
Yes, that was why I want to make sure it's done right, because my team is attached
Because
to
they
it.
said that we told you
Yes.
that don't,
Right.
here's what it lays.
Right. And if there is, when we request clarification, if there's an issue that we request clarification from them, they have to send that clarification to their bidding paper to us, yes.
Our legal advisor will let us know, and then we'll put it back on the agenda whenever we have whenever we're advised that it.
So are you wanting
If they
Blue
would-
Mountain to come
If they
for
would
a
do that,
demonstration on LiDAR?
I wouldn't mind seeing them come up and do a demonstration on that, if they would, you know.
Okay. I can mention it to
Yeah,
them
mention to
when
them,
I'm
yeah.
in contact with them for the air photography.
The other thing is they might be at our meeting this.
They might be down in Charleston this weekend too. Yeah. So mention to them, they will talk to them in Charleston this weekend.
Okay. Yeah, I don't, I mean, I'm just, you know, you see that now, that I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to LiDAR. I couldn't even do the bid correctly, you know, so I don't know what to tell you that LiDAR will do and not do. I just know it goes into the air photography part of it and gives the elevations, but my office doesn't need what the elevations are.
We put you in the company of Steve Harvey.
Are you done now?
I admitted that I was wrong. You admitted on admitted, yes.
You want this back?
No, those are yours. Those are your copies.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Fernald, for considering and approving my additional employee.
Check will be in the mail.
I appreciate that.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Jamie Reiser, Community Corrections Budget.
Good morning, Commissioners, and everybody. I don't want anyone out. As you know, it's grant time again, which means no sleep, headaches, and all that stuff. I have a copy of this is the budget part of our grant application. If you can turn to budget summary, page 2, which actually be page 3 that you're looking at. We're looking at a total budget between the three counties of $319,565. We're requesting the state to pay 85% of that. The county match will be 15%, which is $47,934. The three counties aren't split up evenly. We have more employees in Doddridge County. We're adding another employee in Pleasants County. Ritchie County doesn't pay rent. So all this is taken into account is how we came up with what the county matches are. So Doddridge County, the county match we're asking for is $24,605. That's, if everything goes through, this is all contingent on the state awards. We don't know what that'll be until July. So as we talked in our criminal justice board meeting last night, this is, I hate to say an estimate, but this is what we would ask for in a perfect world. So Pleasants County's part would be $15,022. Ritchie County would be $8,307. That adds up to $47,000. So At this time, what we're asking for from Doddridge County is the $24,605. And it's all broke down in there.
Okay, I just have one question.
Yes.
Pleasant County is 15,000 and Ritchie's 8,000. You tried to explain a little bit of that, why they're so low.
Okay, Pleasant County, their office is located in the courthouse, so there's no renter utilities.
Okay.
That's a big one. There's only one employee in Ritchie County. We will have 2 in Pleasant County. We are going to put, Pleasant County is growing faster than anybody right now.
Why does Ritchie only have 1 employee?
Right now, 1 employee can handle the caseload, basically.
Okay.
Pleasant County is growing. Ritchie County has 10 DRC clients and 6 DHHR clients. Pleasant County has 24 DRC clients and I think 5 DHHR. So there's more than twice the caseload. So we're going to put a part-time employee in Pleasant County, and we're going to put our counselor in Pleasant County 2 days where everybody else has 1 day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's the difference in the counties. They're not split up evenly.
Okay, thank you.
How many clients does Doddridge County have?
Right now, we have 23 with 4 DHHR clients that just come for drug testing.
How much money do you think your job does to save the taxpayers in the county? I mean, do you have a ballpark figure, how much you figure it out?
Yeah, right now, savings to Doddridge County is right around $197,000 so far this year. We still have March, April, May, and June to go, so it will be well up over $200,000. We have 68 clients in DRC, so between the 3 counties, and we can't say that's all savings. Some would just be on probation or whatever. But you take half of that, take 34 people times $1,500 a month. That's what it costs to house them in a regional jail. So the savings are substantial. I hate to get into the bottom line dollars, although that's what we're at here, budget. But the treatment, seeing the success stories, that's what it's about for me. Any other questions?
Okay. So what you're requesting is the $24,605, 15% Doddridge County match for your budget. Total budget request of $319,565. No, it's not a budget request. That's a
grant.
Well, that would be a total budget.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do we have a motion?
I'll move. We grant them $24,605. Doddridge County's match, 15%.
Okay. Any other discussion? No. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
If I could get you to sign that one, Greg. This was an MOU for all the commissioners.
You want this back?
You can have.
You need it. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you did. Okay.
I think that has a copy too.
You want everybody to sign this?
Yes, please. And if I can get your signature on the front page of the grant application. Yes. Next page.
I presume you put the date in?
Yes.
Okay.
And we thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking for a good year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking for lots of money out of Charleston, huh?
Yes.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda, the prosecuting attorney, heat in the office.
I don't know how I got on
on the agenda. I didn't ask to be on the agenda. But I was on there, so I said I'd come on down. We haven't had heating in our office since I took office in 2009. It's the ventless heaters, and as you know, they have very bad fumes. Magistrate Adams was just up in our office dropping off paperwork. When she came up, she said the fumes were very bad. I've spoken with Randy Britton about this multiple times, and she said you all had a plan in place with Little Mike's Heating and Cooling about electric heating, but that would take getting new electric put in. And so I've had multiple discussions with her about this recently, so maybe that's how I got on the agenda, I don't know. But I talked to her a couple weeks ago about it, and she said that it was awaiting you all telling her to put out bids for the electrical, so that the electrical could be put in place in our office so that that electric heating could be put in. So I guess if that's what needs to be done, then that's what I'm asking for, but we would just ask for whatever can be done so that we can have heating in the office. That's what we would like.
Summer's coming, he's coming.
Yes, I know. And that's since 2009 I've been asking for heat, and summer rolls around and then we don't need heat. And then winter comes back and we need heat again. So, but she said that there was a plan in place with this electrical heating. So I would just ask that whatever the commission needs to vote on to look into this electrical for our office, so that I don't know if that's the best option to get this electric heating put in. I don't know, but if that can be done, we would appreciate it. Ready for next. I know it can't be done for this winter, but for next year, so we can have that in place, that would be great, because we are getting fumigated up there. The headaches, all of us in Betsy's office and our office. You can ask the security guards, anybody. You come within 10 feet of our door, it's like walking into a wall with the fumes, and we have headaches 4 out of 5 days from the massive fumes. So
I might say that that's probably not the only source of headaches, but,
yeah.
That doesn't diminish my
well, when
understanding.
everybody's having them and it's every day, it's not just the job. And when other people, like Magistrate Adams and the security guards, and on court days, all the attorneys are talking about the wall that you walk into of fumes. It's not just us noticing them, it's everybody. So obviously it's not something that's going to be done this winter, but if it's something we could work towards to have in place for next year, we would appreciate it.
Okay.
And that's it.
I think we...
That's what's in the bid that we had to skip by, the fact that they're off. But we're looking at everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at electrical, we're gonna look at the heating, look on a bigger scale, we're gonna look at the roof, we're gonna look at the water. We're gonna do it all.
When she and I, like I said, we've been talking about this, so I don't know how I ended up on the agenda today, because I didn't request to be. So I don't know how I don't know how that happened, because she and I have had several conversations, so I don't know how that did. But anyway, we would appreciate that being looked at too.
Well, I personally had hoped that we could wait until we got something decided about an annex, but situations demand certain things, and so we're going to have to move that up, and we are working on it. We're hoping that we wish that there would be an easy solution that wouldn't cost a whole lot, so that we could, but we'll have to wait and see what they're saying. But this is going out to bid when?
As soon as I can get it out, hopefully I can get it in there Friday.
Okay, so it will be, and once the bids are in and we make a selection, then I'm sure that there'll be people all over the courthouse looking at different things. So we're working on it, and like you say, hopefully we can get at least that part of it, and we will try to make a priority because we don't want anybody sick, we don't want anybody injured because of stopgap situations from the past. So anyway, that's where we stand. We're progressing on it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, well, I guess we should, what's the commissioner's feeling as far as breaking for lunch or going right on through? No break?
No break.
Okay. That's the consensus, so that's what we'll do. Next item is the resignation of Matthew Alexander as fiduciary commission.
Yep. Mr. Alexander went to work for the Board of Education, and he has a different position there, does some legal work for them, so he is no longer able to be a fiduciary commissioner for me, and he has turned in his resignation. So.
Okay, so you have that
Yes,
written
I have.
resignation?
Yes.
So we have to approve that?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the resignation of Matthew Alexander as fiduciary commissioner?
So moved.
We have a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Then the next item, back some time ago, we had two estates. There were father and son, Paul McKenzie and James McKenzie. And the fiduciary commission was appointed, and she told me she couldn't serve, she had conflict of interest. You all appointed another fiduciary commissioner. He has never acted on anything. I have the appraisements in my possession from the two estates, but I've never had a fiduciary commissioner to sign off on them. I talked to Mr. James Turner in Clarksburg. I explained the situation to him because any of my attorneys that are fiduciary commissioners, they all have something to do with one or both of these estates. So none of them can serve in this capacity. So I talked to Mr. James Turner, and he has agreed to act as special commissioner just for these two cases. And so I respectfully ask that you allow him to be appointed because we need to get these two estates finished and out of the books. The family's wanting to get it done, so he said once you approve it, then I can get all the paperwork to Mr. Turner. And I talked to some of the attorneys that are representing the family, and they all agreed that Mr. Turner was the perfect person to do this. So.
Okay. Any discussion?
Nope.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to appoint James Turner as special commissioner for the McKenzie Estates. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, EDA, appointment of board member.
You can do those letters.
Yeah. Is this a new?
Well, maybe we ought to change offices with the prosecutor. No problem with eating here.
No.
Okay. This is from Doddridge County Economic Development Authority to the Doddridge County Commission. The nominating committee of the Doddridge County Economic Development Authority respectfully requests your consideration of the following. Renewing board members Nathaniel Hoskinson, Jeff Gola, and Reverend Dan Chadwick to 3-year terms expiring in 2019. And appointing Kim Idell and Greg Cottrell to 3-year terms expiring in 2019. Mrs. Idell has owned and managed various small businesses in her career, and Mr. Cottrell is the current Doddridge County Park Superintendent. The park is shaping up to be a contributor to the county's economy. Sincerely, Herb Connor. Any discussion? Nope. I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion to approve Nathaniel Hoskinson, Jeff Gola, and Reverend Dan Chadwick to 3-year terms expiring in 2019, and appointing Kim Idell and Greg Cottrell to 3-year terms expiring in 2019. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, now we need to set dates for our budget workshops.
You want to do it in the afternoon?
When does this have to be transmitted to the?
Has to be in, first for the 28th.
By the 28th.
We can't start until after the 7th.
And we can't start until after the 7th. Okay. So basically we've got probably, I'd say, from the 9th through, and you probably need to have it transmitted by the 25th on Friday, right?
It would be good idea so I can get it all entered.
To make sure that it's done. So, and once we sign, then you can, I mean, if we signed on Thursday night, you can get it in on Friday, is that, okay. Okay, so basically we have between the 9th and the 24th. The 24th, in the evening, the park is having a kickoff to their fundraiser, so I think that's probably out. What's your feeling, commissioners?
I'd like to skip Friday night. That's the fish fry at the church.
Okay. All right.
What time do you want to start?
We traditionally have started around 4 o'clock, I think, haven't we? And we probably need to schedule maybe 5, and then if we don't need the last 1 or 2, I think that's what we've done in the past, isn't it? Somewhere in the neighborhood of 5. So let's say that we need for our last meeting to be no later than the 23rd, Wednesday.
Okay.
4 o'clock Wednesday.
4 o'clock budget.
23rd?
23rd, yes.
You want to do one, well, you ain't going to be here Wednesday, or are you, 9th?
Yeah, I can be here Wednesday nights.
You mean the Wednesday and 9th?
Oh, Wednesday.
The 9th.
I may not be.
Yeah, okay.
You're in the ceremonies at
Yeah.
right now, coming back.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't do the 16th.
I could probably be, well, I'm gonna have to find some time to get my own work done. And believe me, there's several irate taxpayers on the county that's wanting me to get busy on that. But anyway,
Let's do it, how about the 14th?
14th, okay.
And then, how many we got to have?
Let's do the 21st also.
Okay, okay.
Okay, 3. That's 3. We could do the 10th and 17th.
Yeah. All of them at 4 o'clock?
Yes.
So we got the 10th, the 14th, the 17th, the 21st, and the 23rd.
Right.
Okay.
Did you say the 10th?
Okay.
Pardon?
Did you say the 10th as well?
Yes, the 10th would be our first.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear the first part of what you said.
Oh,
What?
I've got a Region 6 meeting on the 10th. Didn't give us much time in between. What about, well, I couldn't be back. Let's see. The other thing that we could do, I hate to wait till the 14th to start. I was going to say, well, no, that's the county commission meetings at 4 o'clock, so.
We're not start on Wednesday the 9th? No, you won't be back.
Well,
Sorry.
I wouldn't be back by 4, but if we wanted to start at 6, I could probably be back.
Sorry.
Is she gonna be the holdup? Leave her down there, just come on back.
Now, 2 o'clock is the scheduled presentation, so we'll probably be out there by 3, wouldn't you say, Beth?
It usually doesn't take a long time, but they take them
Yeah, that's true.
in order of counties. Of course, we're Doddridge, so we're not too far down.
Well, if they take them alphabetically, yeah. But it seemed to me like there was a whole bunch of grant presentations.
Yeah. They usually just call them up.
I can probably be back by 6.
I can do it Friday the 11th if you start at 6 o'clock.
Okay?
I can
That
do that.
sounds good to me, yeah.
Okay.
So take the 10th off. 11's down. It's 6 o'clock. And you're bringing fish, right, Rob?
It'll be in my belly.
Okay.
I'll bring it to you. I'll bring it to you.
I don't like fish.
You know?
No. I'll take a steak.
That's good, right? All right. 6 o'clock, March 11th. 4 o'clock, March 14th. 4 o'clock, March 17th. Are you bringing the green beer, Butch? He's bringing the food for everything else.
Yeah, I'm Irish, we'll celebrate.
Okay. 4 o'clock on the 21st and 4 o'clock on the 23rd. Is that agreeable with everybody? We have a motion for that effect?
So moved.
We have a motion, and all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Next item on the agenda, approved contract for 2015 sidewalk and paving project with Kelly Paving. We've already approved the bid. So this is just approving me to sign the contract?
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
actual contract with Kelly.
All right.
And I already sent it to everybody.
Okay. All right. So, we've already approved this. I need a motion to approve me signing the $538,501 contract with Kelly Paving. Okay, we have a motion that allows me to approve this contract with Kelly Paving. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
How much the amount again? 538, 501?
Correct. 538, 501. Just one place for me to sign?
That's all I can write.
Okay. All right. Whoops. Okay. Now, next item on the agenda. OES and floodplain reports.
Wait a minute, we need to go back.
Oops.
We need to go back for that bit.
Item B, we need to go back to item B. The bid.
Oh, I looked at that and looked for it a little bit ago, and I thought it was on the agenda. Well, it was. Sorry, George.
We're good?
No, we need to.
Go
I give you guys all.
Okay. You've got a copy of the advertisement and request for qualifications for architectural engineering services. Do we have any discussion? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve advertising for qualifications for architectural engineering services. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do you need any signatures on this or anything? Okay. All right. Now, George.
Yes.
We're ready now. Sorry.
All right. We're going to go start with the floodplain permits. If you got, gentlemen, we go back to the back portion here. I've got 5 permits. The first one's going to be Antero. This is a pipeline. It is in the floodplain. It's in the Central District. The next one is HEP Shell Water Solutions. This is for a water treatment and recycling facility, and this is going to be in the Central Station, off of Central Station Road. That permit is 16415. And then the next permits are for EQT Productions. All 3 of these are temporary water lines. Only one of them is actually in the floodplain, the other 2 are not. Any questions on floodplain?
Could I have a copy of your list?
No, I didn't make any. I'll have to get the. Okay, we'll move on to the OES report. I didn't have any run reports yet, being the first. I just got one just a little bit ago. So once they're done, I'll present.
Is that door locked?
Yeah, there's no way to unlock it.
Yeah.
Just leave
There
it.
is, the thing isn't there.
We need to probably,
Usually we just pop it open.
I'll get some tape.
Well, you can just prop it open and.
The garbage, there's noise out here.
I know, if it gets too noisy, we'll have
Okay. I'm sorry. We'll go with, we'll start off with the EQT monthly report that was given in February. They had no active drills and frac operations scheduled in Doddridge County. On the 8th, I met with the Board of Education. We discussed generators at the high school. They stated that they're adding on to an auxiliary gym. So while they're doing that project, they're going to see if they can find grant money or something to add in generators for the facility. And that'll be for sheltering once we move into that. On the 8th, I turned in the EMPG paperwork for the state. If approved, this county will be reimbursed $43,965 out of the 2015 budget. On the 11th, I met with the county chiefs along with the 911 center. This was not just the fire chiefs, but all the chiefs that were able to make it. We discussed stuff that pertained to emergency services. They went over mapping issues that they had. A lot of things didn't get resolved because fire chief and company one wasn't available, and so there were some mapping issues that we'll have to hopefully get with them and be able to get them corrected. The fire chiefs expressed interest in kind of getting together more often. I'm hoping that they do. I don't need to be to all of those meetings, but I'm hoping that they will. I'm working on a proposal right now for donations and grants for them. Once I get all the information I get from them, I'll bring that to you here in the county. On the 17th, I met with Doddridge County Emergency Medical Squad. I met with members there. We had a discussion about various things that we're doing. We exchanged information and we were scheduling for another meeting. This will be for the mutual aid eventually. We'll work toward that. At the LEPC meeting on the 18th, I'll have the information for that, the next meeting. Randy Britton was voted in as Secretary Treasurer, and there was a good turnout. We're starting to see more and more people coming into it. We had a well site fire on the 25th. That was, there was a few issues there that I'm trying to take care of for the fire departments. And on the 29th, I completed a grant for IRP radios, mobile radios for the fire departments, DCAA, and my vehicle as well. These are for interoperable radio system. The grant is for $76,342 for equipment to be installed in three radios for each department. From what I'm talking with the state, it looks good that we'll get something out of it, hopefully all of it, and the radios will be installed. I'm also working on a grant for a radio tower out in the Route 23 area, improve communications out there. I've talked to the sheriff, EMS, and various other agencies that have problems with communications out there. We're looking at sites right now, and hopefully we'll find something, and then once I've gotten some information from one of the other counties that just put in a site, they're going to give me their information. That way I can submit another grant to the state. I also submitted a grant to the state for the body cams that the sheriff was asking about, to see if we can get reimbursement for some of that. Don't know if it will or not, because there are various other agencies that give out grants for that stuff, but we'll see what happens. Also, just to remind people, forest fire season starts today. It goes through May 31st. I also met with Dave Richards. He's a member of the Doddridge County EMS. He expressed interest in working with the Red Cross. He is now volunteering with them. He's getting a group together. In the next meeting, I'll have him come out and present what they're going to be doing. Up till now, we've had no representation from the community for the Red Cross here, so I think this is a plus and a good move forward. Oh, do you sit on the board? Okay. I didn't know that. He told me, the Red Cross gentleman told me there was nobody here. That's why. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on this? That was about it. That's all I had.
How about the generators out there? Thanks. I mean, Glenn Smith.
Yes, we discussed that at the LEPC meeting. Greg Cottrell and Amanda Sendling with the health department are working on that. So they're putting together that, and once they've got a complete picture, I did get through Dominion that they offered to send people out and maybe hook up another line from theirs, or it's just to come out and maybe put a propane tank. So I'm waiting to see what transpires with that. So we have people working on it, and then we'll see where it goes. But Amanda and Greg are kind of helping out through the LEPC on getting that taken care of.
I'm just curious, what newspaper is the floodplain permit applications? What newspaper are the
That would be through the Independent.
That's the only paper that it's being put in?
Yes.
Okay, the other question that I have is on the water treatment plant,
Yes,
EQT,
It's not EQT, it's shell water.
Shell Water, and where are they locating that?
That's going to be out there on Central Station Road. The gentleman here from the engineering firm that represents Shell Water, they can answer.
What kind of water are they treating?
The flow back and produced water.
Frac
Drilling.
water?
Yes, and drilling out.
What's the size of the plant?
It'd be roughly 10,000 barrel capacity.
Per day?
Per day, yes, but that will not be, that is not the expected volume to be processed. It'll be more around 1,500 barrels per day. And it's for recycle, not for discharge back into the environment. So all of the fluid that is processed will be reused for fracking.
What happens with the byproducts?
The byproducts will be solidified on site, and they will be hauled to a permitted landfill, which is expected to be out of state.
What are the quantities? What the solidified, what's tonnage are you talking about?
I don't have those numbers off the top of my head right now. We have talked about if there are in-depth conversations that need to be had to have a community meeting to address concerns. So that's something that we're certainly willing to do.
Okay, thank you.
We can set that up at another time. And
I was just wondering, do you have that permit application available electronically?
Currently, no, but we can get one for you if you put in go ahead and put in a request. We'll go ahead and see if we can get it.
Electronically?
Any questions? And like I said, we'll set up a meeting, kind of like what we did with the other gentleman, and we can have a meeting with people in the community that are affected by it, can come and voice any issues and get any questions answered.
Okay. You have any?
Whatever happened to the company that we had a meeting down to Lions Club about wanting to put up all these tanks over somewhere. Where was it at?
New Mountain.
New Mountain.
That's over New Mountain. They moved to another location.
In this county?
No, they never did.
I believe so.
Yeah, there were several people there who offered suggestions in places, and I know they were looking at them.
Okay.
If it was someplace outside the floodplain, there was nothing I needed.
Okay.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
All right. Any budget revisions? Okay.
There's two, I separated them. This one is going to be Campbell Stories, the money they donated from revenues over to expenditure so we can use it.
Okay.
And that's all the donations they made, that's the total. And this one, it has breakdown on the front. This is a separate budget.
Okay. We have a budget revision to move $125,777 from refunds, reimbursements to the ambulance authority, and this represents the amount of money that for this fiscal year to date,
yes,
that the ambulance authority has reimbursed the county on the payroll. Any discussion?
Where's it to go to? It's from, it's
It
from
goes to
refund.
account number 715 Ambulance Authority. It's just kind of like a housekeeping of putting it, transferring it from a revenue account to a expenditure account?
yes.
Okay.
So we can use
Where'd the money come from?
Reimbursements that the ambulance authority have made to the county commission.
Okay, and where we're going?
It's going to the ambulance authority for their particular budget. Any other comments or proposal or discussion? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We We have a motion to approve a budget revision of $125,777 from refunds, reimbursements to the ambulance authority, account 715. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This next one, when I go through the budgets, getting them ready, I run across different issues that come up, things that are underfunded, like the health insurance, telephone, the insurance, the liability insurance, unemployment and stuff. And I ran across where some weren't going to be enough to last the month, the whole year.
Okay.
So that's why, and then there's some others down here.
We have another budget revision, and it's transferring out of the gas and oil severance tax revenue account.
Yeah, that's where I took it out.
Okay,
So right.
to accounts for employee health insurance, telephone, and liability insurance, workers' comp, and unemployment. Any discussion?
How much?
Oh, I'm sorry, 148,000.
There's also 63.1 for the courthouse expenditures. That's, and 11,000 of that is for this courthouse. 2,594 is for the electric whole book that you agreed to last time. And I need to move 50,000 into the regional jail.
Cover the monthly inmate costs.
So I guess it's these two numbers that.
Okay. The total, 148,000 from the gas and oil severance revenue account 306 to employee health insurance, 123,000, telephone 10,000, and liability insurance, workers' comp, and unemployment of 15,000 for a total of $148,000. Also another revision of 63,594 from the gas and oil severance account to the courthouse expenditure account number 424 to cover shortages in employee salaries and FICA in the amount of 11,000, county clerk elections expenditure to cover the 2,594 we approved for the electronic poll books, and to transfer 50,000 to the regional jail account. Do we have any discussion? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. That's the only two budget revisions?
Yes,
Okay.
there's no exonerations.
And no exonerations. Okay. The only thing left is probate orders and us signing invoices. So if you wish to stay, you're more than welcome. But for all intents and purposes, the meeting's over. Thank you.
Sounds like yeah, what the original budget was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep, I hear you.
I know what it means. Yeah.
There it is. I really didn't figure we would.
Give me my email address. Go ahead. So you can teach me some things. Well, the biggest thing you're going to have to learn is that there's a law book whenever you go through your training. My dad started out, the law book was this big. It's now this big. And you're mandated to do certain things and pay certain wages. There's no choice.
County also has about this last.